What's going on, guys? Welcome to a Cleveland Browns breakdown. Today, this is the first edition ever. It's supposed to be Dontea and I, the Cleveland Browns fans, on the podcast. Dontea sadly can't make it today for our first annual Cleveland Browns breakdown, we'll say preseason review of the Cleveland Browns, to where we're kind of go over everything about the Browns and our expectations and everything moving forward. I know next week Dontea will be here with us after the week 1 game versus the Dallas Cowboys. So I just kind of want to start. We're going to go down the Cleveland Browns depth chart. For the most part, kind of go by position group. And I'll be honest here, I don't see much downfall in any position group. I don't see where we have a weak link. I know the quarterback position, we got Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, and DTR at our quarterback room. I know Watson, if he's even 70 to 80% of what he was with the Texans, this is a Super Bowl team. Jameis Winston, probably the greatest backup in the NFL for right now, and DTR, a very promising young quarterback that we've seen throughout the preseason as well. So I know with it, me personally, I was never sold on Deshaun Watson after the Baker Mayfield thing happened. I do want to see Deshaun play better. I want to see more consistent. I know he was 5-1 when he played with us last year, but there was some times to where it looked a little sticky or a little iffy. And after this, coming off an injury, shoulder injury, it's kind of a rinse and repeat scenario from his injury before that. We'll move to the running back spot here now. Nick Chubb, he's on the PUP list. He'll be out 4 weeks minimum. Everyone is saying that he's coming off the injury well. He's looking good, rehabbing well. So that leaves Jerome Ford as our RB1 like it was last year. This time RB2 is no longer Kareem Hunt. We got Pierre Strong and D'Onta Foreman in our running back room. And I will say on offense, that might be our weakest link position group-wise. Wide receiver room, I think we have some of the best wide receivers in the NFL when it comes to a whole or as a group. I know we have Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and Elijah Moore. That 3-punch is good. Cedric Tillman, not a terrible 4 slot. David Bell, not a terrible 5 slot. And Jamari Thrash, who proved himself this year in the preseason, made the roster cut. So I think we have a really solid wide receiver room. And I know even with that, our wide receivers, 3 of them, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, 3 of them are in the top 6 against man coverage last year. Like right then and there, this is per Nathan Zegura from the Cleveland Browns Daily. Good show to watch if you are a Cleveland Browns fan as well. All those 3 guys are great against man coverage. That's going to help Deshaun. That's going to help Jerome Ford. That's going to help Nick Chubb down the line when he's not going to see a stacked box on defense. Good wide receiver room there. Now it comes to tight ends. Normally we had multiple tight ends, maybe 3, maybe 4 on the roster at a time. Now we only got David Njoku and Jordan Akins. No problem with that. I mean, we got a little depth everywhere else to kind of fulfill that spot. So the 2 tight ends were solid there. David Njoku, you might say he did look a little better when Joe Flacco was targeting him and throwing him the ball, but he's still a top tight end in the league. He should be very serviceable this year. And now here's the problem. We come to the offensive line. There's a lot of questions here. I know per Nathan Zegura and just the Cleveland Browns in general, there has been talks of Jack Conklin being a swing tackle here. Is he going to move to left tackle? Is he going to play left tackle? We saw some clips of him having reps at left tackle here. Derrick should be the left tackle here. There was talks about Jack Conklin. We still don't know because of Wills' injury. He's questionable moving forward with that. So Conklin hasn't played left tackle since at Michigan State like 10 years ago. So at least he's had some proof of him playing left tackle, but that's been so long we don't know how that'll shape out. We got Jedrick Wills, James Hudson is questionable as well. Joel Bitonio's great. Ethan Posick, can't say his name. Nick Harris as well. Wyatt Teller, Zach Zinter, our draftee, Jack Conklin, and DeJuan Jones. That group as a whole, that offensive line group, I know that's just not all the starters I named. That's just most of them in that group. It's a great group in general to have, a very solid all-around group. Luke Weipler, he did get hurt. He's on the IR. Sad to see him get hurt. Michael Dunn, we re-signed him, came back to us, I believe, from Seattle. Seeing him again on the team is nice. Then we'll move to our defense. We all know Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett coming off the edge with Zadarius Smith. Zadarius did get hurt in preseason at practice, and it did scare us a little bit because that could have been a very severe one. Good to see him okay. To back them up, we got Ogbo Okoronkwo. If I butcher it, I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names. And Alex Wright as well. So that end position, they're great. Now, when it comes to the D tackles, you got Dalvin Tomlinson, you got Shelby Harris, you got Maurice Hurst, you got Quentin Jefferson, you got Mike Hall, who is on the exempt list, so he will not be playing for sure on that one. But that D tackle, a lot of depth there. You can plug and play a lot of them in coming on second down, third down, long drives. You can plug and play and they can come in. Now, when it comes to linebackers, you could say this is probably our weakest spot on defense. You got JOK, Pro Bowler, who barely snuck in. He should have been a no doubt Pro Bowler. And then someone got hurt or couldn't play or something happened. He did become a Pro Bowler. Should have been a Pro Bowler no matter what. Then we got Jordan Hicks and Devin Bush. Jordan Hicks, great linebacker. Devin Bush, great talent coming out of college. Bounced around a little bit in the league in our division and in Seattle. Hopefully Devin Bush can come around and prove himself to what he was supposed to be. And in that room, we got Tony Fields. He's good. Mohamed Diabate is good. And then Nathaniel Watson, if you want to say, as well. Then we move probably to I don't even know if you might say most solid, because you might say the ends are solid as well. Our corners. You got Denzel, you got Martin Emerson, you got Greg Newsome. That corner group is the best in the NFL, and I'm here to argue it, and I will die on that hill. Those three right there. Backing them up, you got Miles Harden, Halasi, and Cam Mitchell. Cam Mitchell probably the best out of those backups there, but Denzel Ward, great corner, great cover corner. Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome as well, both young players that are great. And now here's the thing when it comes to our Pro Bowl corners. I think there should be more than one. We do have Denzel Ward, of course, Pro Bowler. I think MJ Emerson should have been a Pro Bowl corner in the NFL. And here's the stats that I got for you. All three of our corners, 100% are top 32 corners in the NFL. MJ Emerson should have been a Pro Bowler because guess what? His completion percentage allowed in coverage, 47.1%. That's second in the NFL. Rating allowed in coverage, 45.3, second in the NFL. Touchdowns allowed in coverage, 0. First in the NFL. Forced incompletions, 19% of his passes forced incomplete. That's sixth best in the NFL. He also had, career high 4 picks, 14 pass defenses. That's first on the team. And guess what? He was on the number 1 defense in the league. And since entering the league in 2022, he has 29 passes defensed. That's 5th most in the NFL. And I believe his rating is 47.1 allowed in coverage as well. So right there, dude, MJ Emerson, you're a Pro Bowler in my eyes. Definitely should be. Greg Newsome, not far off. Greg Newsome, another great corner. He had 2 picks last year, 14 passes defended. That's tied with Greg Newsome on our team. His completion percentage allowed in coverage, 58.2, so it is higher, but that's still 27th in the NFL. His rating allowed in coverage, 76.4, still higher than MJ, but 17th in the NFL. And his forced incompletions is the same as MJ with 19%, so that's tied with 6th best in the NFL with MJ Emerson. We get Denzel Ward back for week 1. He had the concussion. I believe the 5th concussion known for Denzel Ward, but he'll be going up against CeeDee Lamb, so we definitely need him there. Shout out to the Browns corners. I think they're one of the best in the league there. I don't think a lot of other teams compare when it comes to that. Then we go to our safeties. We got Grant Delpit and Juan Thornhill. Ronnie Hickman and Rodney McLeod, also great backups to Anthony Bell as well. So we've seen a couple of those guys last year. And our safety room also very solid. There's no holes on our defense. No holes. The only one that you might be able to say is that Devin Bush, because he bounced around, might not be as proven. But still, no holes on defense. We had the number 1 defense last year and looking to kind of replicate that this year with Jim Schwartz at DC, but it's hard for defenses to consistently be the best in the NFL year after year. So I expect them to take a little bit of a step back, but it's the same team for the most part. I'm expecting big things out of our defense. With that, that's our 53-man roster for the most part. It's mainly our depth chart I kind of went over. Now, my expectations for the Browns here, I think we're a playoff team. I think if Deshaun Watson plays 70 to 80%, like I said, he's a Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl team. He can do it. He can win. Now, that's what I want to see. Deshaun Watson, first couple of games is going to kind of tell how he is. Is the shoulder going to hold up? He didn't play in the preseason, so we don't know how he's going to look. Jameis Winston, you can win games with Jameis. Do I trust Jameis? Not entirely. He's 30 for 30. We know how the Jameis show goes. I know our captains on our team. Shout out, we got Denzel Ward, Charlie Hewlett, our long snapper, Myles Garrett, Deshaun Watson, and Joel Bitonio. Kind of leads us to some players that might not be seeing the field. We got key injuries. Luke Wakeler out, IR. He won't be playing this season. Denzel Ward, I mentioned his concussions. He will be good for week 1, but that's something he's always usually banged up every year for a couple of games. Something to keep an eye on for the Warden out there. Nick Chubb, he's on the PUP list, like I said. He'll be out 4 weeks. We'll see him come back. We don't know how good he's going to be when he comes back. Even if Nick Chubb is 60% of what he was the best running back in the NFL when he was playing. 60% of that, still a hell of a running back. We mentioned Mike Hall. He's not injured, but he's on the commissioner's exempt list, so he will not be playing from what we can see. And our running back that we picked up in the offseason, he was going to be one of the key returners for us. Nyheim Hines, he's on the PUP list. He'll be out a minimum of 4 weeks as well. This moves me on to week number 1. I will give my predictions at the end of this show, but week 1, we play the Dallas Cowboys. And I know we are favorited against one Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is what scares me. Tom Brady's going to be there, right? The GOAT, some might say. I think Mahomes might be. He's getting there. Tom Brady's going to be first game announcing, right? Commentating. So a lot of eyes are going to be on the game as this ball's moving. So I just hope Deshaun comes out and plays well, because there's going to be a lot of criticism to either team no matter what, whether it's the Cowboys or the Browns with Deshaun Watson. I know the good thing for the Browns, not good for the Cowboys. Deron Bland is hurt. He had a stress fracture on his foot, so he will be out against the Browns. So that leaves our wide receiver room with Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore. I'm taking our wide receiver room over their DB room as a whole right now, especially Deron Bland being out. We really got to worry about their pass rush. Micah Parsons is the greatest guy over there on defense that we kind of have to stop and slow down. So our offensive line has to be on one on week 1. I feel like the Browns, I want to hear your score predictions down below in the comments. Hopefully Zeke and Dalvin Cook don't get cooking too much. Hopefully they're the running backs of old and you're just living off of the name of them. I hope so. I know Dontea also chose the Browns because why not? We're Cleveland Browns fans. We got high hopes for this season. I know when it comes to our head coaches, Kevin Stefanski, greatest coach we've had in the past 20 years, right? And from that, a lot of people saying, you know, if he doesn't win, if this doesn't happen, he might be out of a job, or Mike Vrabel's going to take the job after he leaves, or this and that. And no, that is not going to happen. Kevin Stefanski has this locker room. Kevin Stefanski is one of the best coaches in the NFL. Look what he had to do last year with 5 different quarterbacks playing. He made it to the playoffs. Although, didn't look too great against the Texans in the playoffs. I mean, we had a Joe Flacco out there. Dude put up a crazy amount of passing yards in not a lot of games. And Stefanski won with that team. Shout out also, you had Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator. Big part of our defense and big part of our coaching group is Jim Schwartz. You know, we had Woods a couple of years ago as our DC. We weren't too happy with having Joe Woods as our defensive coordinator. And then we also got Mike Vrabel. He's a considered not a counselor, but consultant for the Cleveland Browns. Basically, he's another coach. Stefanski has a question. Jim Schwartz has a question. Guess what? You can go to Mike Vrabel. He's been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator. He's going to give you tips or give you his insight on how he thinks something should be. And that just helps. Having great minds in a room, that helps when it comes to building a team and moving down the line. So now I'm going to go down the Browns 2024 schedule. Last year, posted it on TikTok. My predictions for the Cleveland Browns last year had us winning 11 games. And guess what happened? We won 11 games. Everyone clowned me saying, oh, 3 wins max. This guy doesn't know football. Cleveland says this every year. Cleveland says this is always their year, every year. Guess what? I was right. So you. Week 1, I have us losing to Dallas. I know in this video I said we have us winning to Dallas. For this factor, and since I have the graphic already done, sure, we lose to Dallas. I can see it honestly going either way, especially with not knowing what Deshaun Watson will look like. Then it comes to week 2, we travel to Jacksonville. We win there. Trevor Lawrence, that's all they got over there in Jacksonville. We're able to shut down Trevor Lawrence. Week 3, we play against the New York Giants. Giants, not so great. We get a dub there. Week 4, at the Raiders. We get a dub against the Raiders. It'll be a tough game. They got a great defense over there. Gardner Minshew isn't terrible. You know, we played against them in the Colts last year and beat them. We beat them again this year just at the Raiders. Week 5, we go against rookie Jaden Daniels at Washington. We take advantage of him being a rookie, fluster him with our rush. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Maurice Hurst, all of them. We get that dub. Week 6, we go to Philly. The Eagles. They're a great team. We're going to give them that one. Jalen Hurts has a great game. Saquon, great game. Sure, we'll give you that one. We lose that. Week 7, we go against the Bengals. Now, the Bengals are not very good. You know why? Because they're playing against us. Joe Burrow's record against the Browns is not very good. We win that one. Sorry, Bengals, you lose. We move on. Then we go to play the Ravens. At home, most likely going to split the Ravens. Give me the win at home. We beat the Ravens. Week number 9, we play against the Chargers. Now, the Chargers are wishy-washy. Last year, who the hell knew if they were going to be a good team or not? This year, we still don't know. Look at their receiver room. Who do they have? Nobody. We win. Our defense shuts them down. Week 10, bye week. Get healthy. We move on to week 11 where we whoop the ever-living out of the New Orleans Saints. Then we'll move to week 12 against Pittsburgh. We win here. Week 12 at home against Pittsburgh. Give us that dub. Week 13, we have the Broncos at Denver. Dub. Week 14 at Pittsburgh at Acrisure. Used to be Heinz Field. They don't like you that much. Now it's Acrisure. Worst stadium name. We take a loss. We'll split here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then we'll move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs beat us. You know, they're the best team in the NFL. I'm not going to choose us against over the Chiefs for right now. Although, Rashard Higgins, Sorensen, it was helmet to helmet. We should have had a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield. We'll move on at the Bengals, at Cincy. I'll be nice with you, Cincy. I did talk some shit. I'll give you guys a win here. So the Browns do lose 3 straight. Looking a little rough, looking a little scary. Okay? Ooh, nah. We play against the Dolphins at home. We get that dub. Then move on. Week 18. We might rest our starters like we did last year. Who knows? Sure, hypothetically in this situation, we do rest our starters. So we'll split with the Baltimore Ravens. And that is my Cleveland Browns 2024 predictions. We're making it to the Super Bowl. So that's my little clip it of there for TikTok. You know, definitely talk some shit, get people riled up. And guess what? It's going to work. I'm curious on what you guys think this year, especially with the AFC North being one of the best divisions in football. It's going to be a tough schedule. We have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. I believe 1, 2, or 3 hardest schedule in the NFL. It really depends on Deshaun Watson and what he can look like. Our defense, they're going to be good. We're going to be there. Our offense, we're going to have weapons. Can you get those players the ball? Can we move the offense? Can you be a game manager and make great plays when we need to, Deshaun? That is dependent on you. So leave comments down below. I know after week 1, Dontea and I will have a weekly episode for you guys, for the Cleveland Browns fans, so we can have a little chat and talk about everything Browns related. Until next time, until next week, until the Browns win against the Cowboys. Peace out.